Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Shattered Silence. Holly had always been drawn to the eerie allure of abandoned places. So, when her group of friends suggested exploring the deserted library on the Isle of Wight, she couldn't resist the opportunity. Little did she know their adventure would plunge them into a nightmare beyond comprehension. As they approached the decrepit building, vines snaked around the crumbling facade, and the windows stared out like vacant eyes. The air was heavy with the weight of forgotten stories, and a chill ran down Holly's spine as they stepped inside. The interior was a labyrinth of dusty shelves, each stacked with ancient tomes and manuscripts. The scent of mildew hung thick in the air, and the only sound was their footsteps echoing through the empty halls. "Let's split up," suggested Mark, the self-proclaimed leader of the group. "We'll cover more ground that way." Reluctantly, they agreed, each venturing off into different sections of the library. Holly wandered through the rows of books, her fingers trailing along the spines as she read the faded titles. As she reached for a particularly withered tome, her hand brushed against something cold and clammy. With a gasp, she recoiled, only to find herself face to face with a spectral figure, its eyes hollow and filled with malice. Frozen with fear, Holly watched as the ghostly apparition reached out a hand, its fingers curling towards her throat. But before it could make contact, a deafening sound shattered the silence, echoing through the library like a scream torn from the depths of hell. The shelves began to shake, and books tumbled to the floor in a cascade of ancient pages. Desperate, Holly turned to flee, but everywhere she looked, more phantoms emerged from the shadows, their twisted forms contorted with rage. Frantically, she searched for her friends, calling out their names as she stumbled through the maze-like corridors. But they were nowhere to be found, lost in the chaos that consumed the library. As Holly raced towards the exit, the very walls seemed to close in around her, suffocating her with their suffocating embrace. And just when she thought she couldn't bear it any longer, she burst through the doors, back into the cool night air. But the horrors of the library followed her, their whispers lingering in the darkness, a constant reminder of the shattered silence that had unleashed them upon the world. And though she escaped with her life, Holly knew that some nightmares could never truly be left behind. Weeks passed since that harrowing night in the abandoned library on the Isle of Wight, but Holly couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Sleep eluded her, haunted by the memory of the spectral figures and the deafening sound that shattered the silence. Her friends, too, were changed by the experience. Mark became withdrawn, his once boisterous demeanor replaced by a quiet, haunted gaze. Sarah, always the skeptic, now jumped at the slightest sound, her nerves frayed to the breaking point. And Tom, normally the voice of reason, spoke in hushed tones of things he couldn't explain. Determined to find answers, Holly delved into the history of the library, uncovering dark tales of witchcraft and forbidden knowledge. Legend had it that the building was once a sanctuary for those who delved too deeply into the mysteries of the occult, their restless spirits forever bound within its walls. With each revelation, Holly's unease grew, until she could no longer ignore the truth staring her in the face. The library was not simply haunted, it was a gateway to something far more sinister, something that hungered for release. Gathering her friends once more, Holly returned to the Isle of Wight, their footsteps echoing through the abandoned streets as they made their way back to the library. But this time, they were prepared, armed with ancient texts and forbidden knowledge passed down through generations. As they stepped inside, the air grew thick with anticipation, the very walls pulsing with an otherworldly energy. With trembling hands, they began to recite the incantations, their voices weaving together in a desperate plea to seal the gateway before it was too late. But the darkness would not be denied. With a roar that shook the very foundations of the building, the spirits rose once more, their twisted forms coalescing into a vortex of malevolent energy. With a sinking feeling in her chest, Holly realized their mistake. They had only succeeded in amplifying the power within the library, unleashing a force beyond their control. In a last-ditch effort to save themselves, they fled into the depths of the building, the shadows closing in around them like a suffocating embrace. But no matter how fast they ran, the darkness pursued, its hunger insatiable. And as the library collapsed around them, consumed by the same darkness that had haunted its halls for centuries, Holly knew that their fate was sealed. The shattered silence had been broken, and now they would pay the price for their curiosity, lost forever in the depths of an endless nightmare. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like, and even better, like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope you have had or have a great day.